Yeah.
I want to share this time with Deputy Spring, McCarthy and Deputy O'Dowd.
That's...
It's 14 years since I made a contribution in this House on a social welfare bill. And it's an horrendous experience to come in after 14 years and ask yourself, how has this country descended to the extent that every government department is slashing budgets? The answer is quite simple, but tragic. That in the last 14 years, Fianna Fáil have dragged this country down to the extent that we're bailed out by the IMF and the EU. It's horrendous, horrendous to come in here after 14 years and see how the country has deteriorated from by the imposition by the IMF of a bailout plan for this country. It's horrendous that Minister Byrne has to create cutbacks of 475 million in her budget. It's unthinkable. However, the facts of the matter are that this is what has to be done. Can I just say to Minister Byrne to thank her for her efforts at cabinet level in reducing what was to be a far more substantial cut than 475. I understand she whittled it down from 700 million to 475. However, the problem is, as you know, it's always very hard to be applauded for hurting less. I'm particularly interested in this particular section dealing with community employment. The reason being I am both a parliamentarian and a community activist. I happen to be a voluntary community activist, a director of three voluntary organisations, one being Treasure Tots Nursery in Ballyfermot. I'm a director there. It's a not-for-profit organisation. I'm on the Dolphin House Community Development Association, a not-for-profit body as well, and I'm a member of Board of Directors of Crumlin Childcare Consortium. Now, the best way to give you to explain the difficulties for me as a director is that if, in a simplistic way, this €1,000 cut in the allowance for materials and training was to go ahead, it's not the individual, it's not necessarily just the individual CE worker that's afflicted. It's we as company directors. We are the ones, the money is coming not into the hands of the community employment participant, but it comes down to the board of directors, the legal entities that have to manage the programmes. Now, for example, if you take Treasure Tots Nurseries, of which I'm a director, we have 18 community employment workers on that scheme. We would not be able to deliver the excellent childcare service that we do without their participation. Treasure Tots Nurseries, for example, is an example of one of the for providing a very, very high quality level of training. All our CE workers go right through to the FETAC level 5 training. They actually progress beyond CE and have been recruited locally by day nurseries, not-for-profit nurseries in Cherry Orchard, and in my own other childcare facility in Crumlin. We have actually recruited those who've been upskilled from community employment. So the difficulty we have is that if it was to be arbitrarily decided that Treasure Tots Nurseries, AD and CE workers, that we, the board of management, were not to collect or were to lose out, we'd be shortfall. Our shortfall would be 18,000. Now, for voluntary community activists like myself and others, it's very, very difficult to expect that we could continue to provide that service. However, you know, I noticed the Minister in her speech today mentioned an additional 20 million from the Department of Education towards training. And it seems to me that what she's going to do now is going to, now that her department has merged with, is it Solus, the FOSS training people, now is a golden opportunity, I would argue most strongly, now is a golden opportunity for the government and various government departments, particularly Minister Howland's department and Minister Burton's department to take on board the recommendation, which is the road to recognition, its challenges and solutions for the community sector. This is an Irish Congress of Trade Union submission that has been made in conjunction with the Community Sector Employment Forum. So in a sense, I'm not just a community activist, I'm an employer, and if anybody else here happens to be a company director of a limited voluntary company, we are both employers as well as activists. This gives us a great opportunity to engage as a government with both the employers and the Congress to create a tripartite discussion about how we're going to channel the various funds from FOSS, from the HSE, the local authorities, the Department of Justice, the VECs, the Department of Children, and the list goes on and on and on. So the demand that has been made on us, and I know it's been made to quite a number of us, is that we need to give the workers a voice in the decision-making process. And I really would appeal to government, because there'll be a number of government departments involved, that now that Minister Burton is in the ideal position, given her the merging of Solis with her department, as a start you would have those two bodies talking, and then you engage with the other government departments. So look, I'm reasonably confident that we'll be able to rearrange the deck chairs around this training and materials issue, given the announcement by the Minister of an additional 20 million being made available. But I think it's important to really engage in a serious discussion with partners. It shouldn't just be that you're running a drugs task force programme, or you're running a community development programme, and all of a sudden you get a 5%. You're told to cut by you're told by FOSS to cut 5% or 10%. You're told by the City of Dublin VEC that your youth services are going to be cut. We need those who are providing such phenomenal services within the community to have a voice when decisions are being taken, and the only way, and the most successful way to achieve that, I would argue, most strenuously, is that we bring on board this document, which I'll leave with the Minister, with a view to creating a proper recognition for the voluntary and community sector in negotiations about their future, their role, their continuing funding, the salary scales for its workers, and continuity of employment. So I leave it basically at that. There are two key people I want to thank. It's Jean Somerset, who's from the Community Sector Employers Forum, and there's Dara O'Connor from the Irish Congress of Trade Unions Community Committee. Two excellent people who are ready, available and willing to represent the community sector in talks with government. Thank you very much.